You have stated that you are new to the Hill and Overleas construction sites and will therefore receive extended HSE information before you start work. After the review, you will answer some questions and confirm in the app that you have read and understood the information. On the construction site, it is mandatory to wear a helmet, safety shoes, and work clothes with Class 2 visibility. Other personal protective equipment such as safety glasses, welding goggles, hearing protection, dust masks, and gloves must be used during hot, noisy, or dusty work. Hearing protection must always be used at noise levels over 85 decibels, and at noise levels over 95 decibels, double hearing protection must be used, both earplugs and earmuffs. Noisy work should be performed outdoors as much as possible, and noisy equipment should be turned off when not in use. Be also aware of fine dust and quartz dust, for example from concrete, cement-based adhesives, sealants, and leveling compounds. Quartz dust can consist of very small particles that are not always visible, and therefore a dust mask should always be used when working with concrete that is not cast-bound and when working with cement-based products. The health, safety, and environment rules and the requirements for personal protective equipment apply to everyone working or present on the construction site, including visitors. This applies regardless of which company or supplier one is employed by, and also applies to sole proprietorships. All companies, suppliers, and sole proprietorships are responsible for providing necessary personal protective equipment for their employees. To perform hot work on the construction site, you must have documented training in hot work. This includes the use of angle grinders, heat guns, welding equipment, and similar tools. As an employee, you have the right to stop work immediately if you believe there is a danger to your own or others' safety. Such interruptions must be reported to the nearest supervisor immediately. Always use the required protective equipment and actively contribute to preventing injuries and accidents. Report immediately to your employer if you are injured at work. Also report immediately any operational stoppages, injuries to personnel, or deviations in operations. Alarm, telephone numbers, and action plans are posted at HSE stations and in the barracks. The Result app also has a link to all HSE information. First aid equipment must be available at the barracks. Everyone should know where the first aid equipment and fire extinguishing equipment are located. Notify the safety representative or foreman if something is missing. On the construction site, cranes are often in use. Suspended loads always represent a significant risk. Be aware of where the crane is located and follow necessary safety rules. Never walk under suspended loads. Use only approved lifting equipment that has no visible damage. Careless use of ladders is one of the most common causes of fall accidents. Ladders must always be secured against slipping and should only be used for short-term work or access. According to the regulations, the ladder must extend at least 1 meter above the deck. Always check that the ladder is secured before climbing it. Scaffolding and mobile scaffolding should be used where possible. Scaffolding and mobile scaffolding should be assembled according to the assembly instructions, and the assembler must have an approved course. Scaffolding over 2 meters should have guardrails and a toe board on at least 3 sides. If the distance to the wall is over 30 centimeters, a railing must be installed on all 4 sides. If the distance to the wall is under 30 centimeters, the railing can be omitted on that side. For roof safety, JMAC scaffolding with standard railing in double height can be used up to 10 degrees. For roof safety over 10 degrees, specially adapted railings must be used on JMAC scaffolding. SJAs must always be prepared when scaffolding is used for roof safety. All scaffolding must be marked with owner and status, for example, open, closed, approved, or not approved. Self-ladder can be used in areas where it is not possible or where it is too narrow to use rolling scaffolding. Everyone working on the scaffolding must have documented user training. If you lack training, you should not use the scaffolding. Report to the construction site management if you lack training. Step ladders must be secured against tipping and have a work platform. Step ladders over 150 centimeters to the top step with an acceptable deviation of plus 50 millimeters must have a ladder, foot, or support leg on both sides. The step ladder should also have a railing with a minimum height of 95 centimeters on 3 sides and a back guard with a chain or strap. The platform should have a minimum size of 40 by 40 centimeters. The maximum height is 4 meters. The stepladder must be undamaged, type approved, and marked accordingly. It is not allowed to eat food around the construction site. Food should be eaten in cabins or at designated eating areas. Waste from food, drinks, and similar items should not be thrown in containers for construction waste. Undesirable events such as accidents, injuries, and near misses should be reported as an RUH report for undesirable events. Reporting is digital and is done by scanning the QR code posted in the barracks and on the construction site. When you scan the QR code with your phone, you will be taken directly to the reporting form for this project. Make sure to have the necessary protective equipment available when handling unknown substances and chemicals. The material safety data sheet is electronic in CoBuilder Collaborate. To access, scan the QR code posted in the cabin and on the construction site with your phone. Risky work. For each task assessed as risky, a safe job analysis must be performed. If you are in doubt about whether an SJA should be prepared, you should contact your nearest manager or HSE responsible. SJA is created in the ProResult app. Competence. You should not perform work you are not qualified for. You should also not use machines or equipment that you do not have documented training to use. Everyone working on the construction site must register daily at the site terminal with their HMS card. You can also use the app via mobile. ASEN and Overlid use 2 types of registration. Construction sites without access control use the ProResult site terminal located in the barrack. Everyone must register daily with their HMS card at the site terminal or register with the ProResult site terminal app via mobile. Construction sites with access control, that is, those closed with a turnstile, use the Infotech construction card reader. You will then be registered on the construction site's terminal while using your HMS card to go through the turnstile. If the construction site has open gates, you must not go in and out that way, instead of the turnstile, because you will not be registered on the construction site that way. Repeated failure to register will not be accepted and will lead to dismissal. On your HMS card user, everyone must register name, date of birth, HMS card number, phone number, company name, organization number. Work at heights, movement on roofs, beams, scaffolding under construction, or similar without fall protection is not accepted. This can lead to expulsion from the construction site. Everyone using fall protection equipment must have approved training. Securing the construction site. It must be ensured that buildings, materials, and construction products are not damaged or deteriorated. It must also be ensured that no harm occurs to people or the environment. Everyone is obliged to ensure that construction fences are sufficiently closed at the end of the workday or before leaving the worksite for an extended period. Materials and products shall be covered with necessary tarps. Tools and materials should not be left at heights if they pose a risk of falling. Materials like plastic, styrofoam, and similar items shall be secured so they do not blow away from the construction site. Power supply to electrical machines shall be disconnected after the end of the workday. Organization of HSE at the construction site. ASEN and Overlid are the main company at the construction site and are responsible for coordinating the HSE work. The main company appoints a site safety leader and establishes common HSE rules that apply to everyone at the construction site. Subcontractors are obliged to follow the applicable HSE rules. All subcontractors must also comply with the requirements for safety representatives and coordination forms for health, safety, and environment. Action plan in case of accident and fire. In case of personal injury, life and health must always be prioritized first, and necessary first aid must be given immediately. Call 113 in case of personal injury. In case of fire, the alarm should be triggered and the fire department notified at 110. Evacuate the area and start extinguishing only if it is safe. In case of a serious accident, the police should be notified at 112. Action plan for acute pollution. In case of acute pollution, the spill should be contained as quickly as possible. Stop the leak source if it is possible and safe to do so. If the spill can cause harm to the external environment, emergency services should be notified at 110. Also report to the construction site management or the health, environment, and safety officer. Material database and chemical handling. The material database is digital and is located in CoBuilder. You can access it by scanning the QR code posted at the construction site. All chemicals must be registered before use. Subcontractors not using CoBuilder must have their own chemical register available at the construction site. Read the safety data sheet before use and wear the required protective equipment. Waste management and source sorting. At least 60% of the waste on the construction site must be sorted. Use the correct container for each type of waste. Keep the construction site tidy and ensure that waste is not left around the area. Hazardous waste must always be delivered separately and should never be disposed of with residual waste. Notification of objectionable conditions. Everyone has the right to report objectionable conditions in the workplace. Retaliation against the whistleblower is prohibited. Reporting can be done internally and, in some cases, externally. It is also possible to report anonymously.